At the moment when we add a product to cart, we still get the default design for the notices. And in PineGrow, we can customize that as well. So let's go back here, and we have a page called extras.html. And here we can define kind of elements that don't really belong to other pages, but are used in WooCommerce, and for example notices. So let's first, we have to enable WordPress on this page, and we don't want to export the page as a template, right? So let's say don't export this page. We are just interested in exporting WooCommerce templates for notices. And we can make the view larger. So let's do it. And we can see that each notice is enclosed in a section with some bottom margin. So let's use the section element so that we also get this empty space kind of baked in into the notice. And then we are just using standard Bootstrap alert for displaying the colored box. And then we have a row with two columns. So one column contains the icon, and the second column contains the actual notice. So to define a notice, we have to go to MISC actions, and here we have notice action. And we select the type. So the first type is success, like green, when we accomplish something amazing, like when we add a product to the cart, then this type of notice will be shown. And then repeated item, we have to fix this, add the tooltips. So repeated item will display, because in WooCommerce, kind of one notice can display more messages. So there is an element that is repeated for each message, and in our case, we'll just repeat this deal, like in the left column, in the right column, we will repeat it for each message. And usually it will be only one, but there can be more. So let's select it, the deal, show text in, so we'll just show it in the same element that is repeated. We could define a sub-element for that, no need for now. And add WooCommerce class. Default is yes, so let's just go with this. Okay, and let's export the theme and go back. Let's reload the page and try adding the element to the cart. So it worked, but we can see that, kind of default WooCommerce styling is getting in the way. So let's get rid of it by setting the add WooCommerce classes to no. Reload, and here it is. Now we have our kind of message. But like WooCommerce adds some stuff as a part of the message, for example, view card button, and usually it should be on the right side. So we need to come up with a CSS styling that will create the correct layout and put these buttons in the right place. And to save you some time, I already prepared a boilerplate code called, where is it? Notice CSS. And so here it is. For the button, we just use the float. We float it to the right side. and we add clear like after the notice so that the float doesn't fall out. So let's see if this will work. So we have to add the CSS to the project, and we have to add style sheets and code to the master page. So let's add that. Export, go back, reload, and here it is. So this is very basic styling. It's just the button is pushed on the right side with float. You could use flex or grid or whatever, so it's up to you. The notice CSS is just very simple boilerplate code. Let's try to trigger an error. So one way to trigger an error is if we try to add a product that is not like selected yet, but the button is disabled. So let's go into inspect and enable the button so that we can click it. Disabled. So let's just remove this glass. Okay, add to cart, and we have the standard WooCommerce notice. So let's use our own. Go back to extras, and now we will define error message. Notice the type will be error, the repeated item again will be this div. And let's remove WooCommerce classes, export, reload. So here it is. And we can do the same for the info notice. Notice type info, repeated item is again the div, remove WooCommerce classes, and export the page. Not sure how to trigger that info box like here. If we could, then we would see it here. And one notice, like the messages here in the cart, or if we go into checkout, oh, here it is. You see? We see our nice message. So one thing to keep in mind, originally I wanted to use SVG icons here, but when WooCommerce displays these notices, it kind of cleans the HTML code, and as a result it removes SVG elements. So we can't use SVG there. We could use image, I guess, if we just save SVG as a file and then we include it as an image, we could use that. But here I'm just using icons, like Unicode icons, and then these icons get replaced by WordPress with their own kind of images for emoticons or for emojis. So I guess that can be controlled in WordPress if you don't want to replace that. But just so that you know, like with SVG images, it doesn't work due to security kind of concerns in WooCommerce.